Joe Zikas from YoChicago. I'm in the office of Michael Pierson, who's the president and chairman of Rubloff, Prudential Rubloff these days. Michael, you had used the word challenging several times earlier in our interview. Challenging has to lead to frustrations for sellers. What advice are you giving sellers on how to deal with this market?
Well, great question, Joe. I think sellers have to partner with their brokers and with their agents and with their companies in the challenge market. And here's what I mean by that. Every seller deserves to sell for the highest price that the market will bear with the least amount of inconvenience to them. That's all of our goals. But what we're finding in the current market is the market has definitely improved and the market has definitely gotten better. However, there is still a lot of price volatility in the marketplace. The advice that I would give sellers today are, pick a company that knows what they're doing and professionally can represent you with a real high quality agent in the marketplace. And I would be telling the sellers that it's still what I call a price and beauty contest. It has to be appropriately priced. It has to be in appropriate condition to compete in a market that is still oversupplied. If you look at the data of the Chicagoland market, what you'll find is that a very significant percentage of the properties that get contracts still get their contracts inside the first 90 days on the market. Now, that doesn't mean that a significant amount of properties are selling in 90 days. That means that for those properties that are successful in getting a contract, you have a much higher probability of getting it in the first 90 days. So coming on the market at a price that doesn't compete well is for the most part not a good strategy.
The notion of partnering with your agent, I think, leads to some interesting angles. Staging seems to have become very important lately, and that's a cost that not every agent is willing to bear. And should the seller be bearing part of the cost of staging, or what actually happens with staging these days?
Well, in the 20-some plus years that I've been in the business, staging is not a new concept, but I've seen it come in the market and go out of the market and then be real strong in the market. I would say there's more conversations today about staging than I've seen for a really long time. And I think it's a really good conversation to have because, as I said before, it has to be a price and a location and a location-driven marketplace. If your property isn't competing well on condition, you have to address that because it's an oversupplied market. A great stager is not what I would think that a seller should think of as an expense. You should hire a stager if you believe that it's not an expense and it can bring value to the transaction or it can dramatically lower your market time in order to maximize your dollars. There are some agents that have the skill set to guide a seller and work with the seller through a staging process. There are some agents who have incredibly talented resources to help sellers. But one thing that regardless the seller has to take seriously is that if you're not in great condition, you're going to struggle to compete in the market. It's not enough to be just priced right. You have to be priced right and in good condition to compete today.